Welcome, my friends of the interwebs. I've been a little under weather the last couple of days, and I've been meaning to do this video for a very long time now, but I tell you, I feel this flu coming on, and I have a feeling if I don't get this done today, I will not get a chance to do this for a week, and this is kind of an important video. Which reminds me, please watch this through till the end. I think you will find it worth viewing. Alright. If you have known me for any length of time, you know that in the last several years on YouTube, I have been a huge supporter of the YouTube community. All communities on YouTube, whether it's the firearms community, or the prepping community, or the gear community, or and lately I guess the book community. I've been a big supporter. If you go back through my last several hundred videos, you will notice that I am one of those people that enjoy giving people shout outs. I like supporting the smaller channels especially, but all channels. And it to me is a matter of pride. I've never been one of those YouTubers that's been one of those it's all about me type people. I'm more than happy to shed light on somebody, especially if there's somebody that I think is worthy of shedding some light on. So, why am I saying all this stuff? Well, here's why. You're watching a YouTube channel right now by Stephen Hayes. His channel name is Stephen Hayes UK. I refer to him as Colonel Hayes, but some people call him Dr. Hayes. That's right, he is a medical doctor. When I met Stephen Hayes, when I introduced myself to him on YouTube, I had asked him some questions. I was going to be planting some apple trees for the first time in my life, planting apple trees, and I wanted some advice, and he had what looked to be one of the finer apple growing channels on all of the interwebs. And I contacted him and asked him a few questions. This has been a long time ago, and he answered the questions very nicely. He's very knowledgeable about growing apples, and consequently, I don't know how much time went by, maybe another year down the road. I think we were debating Obamacare, and then one day I log on and there's a new video from Stephen Hayes, and I went to check it out. And he wasn't in his apple orchard. He was in a lab coat with a stethoscope, I believe. And that's when I learned that he was actually a medical doctor, a physician by trade. I'd always thought that he was just a simple farmer, apple orchard keeper, He is probably... God, and I'm going to say this. I know this is a bold statement, but of all the people I've met in my life, whether it's virtually met or met in real life, he's easily in one of easily the top 10 most interesting people. Let's put it that way. Because not only is he an orchard keeper and master of apples and hard cider making, he is also a medical doctor, and on top of that, he's a hell of a blues guitar player. Well, it turns out Stephen is also a hell of an author. He had actually sent me notice that he had a book up on Kindle that he self-published called 3 Men in a Hut and Other Essays. And I was intrigued, and he had it for sale for $1, and I thought to myself, I've got to check this out. I mean, the man just never ceases to amaze me. And so I downloaded his book to my Kindle for PC, and I started reading it, and I was just really fascinated. I have to admit, early on in his book, it kind of pissed me off because there's a couple of things that Stephen and I do not see eye to eye on. But you know what the best thing for me is? When I'm reading a book and I get pissed off in the first chapter, I know that I'm onto something good. Because I learned a long time ago that if I'm reading a book and I agree with everything that's in the book, then I'm reading the wrong books, But now, having said that, 99% of Stephen's book, I am absolutely on point with him, absolutely. But there were a couple things, but that's great, and I like to surround myself with people with varying opinions and views on things. I'm not going to get too deep into the book other than to tell you that I want everybody to buy it. It's only $1, and here's why. Stephen is one of us. He's a YouTuber. And, here's a guy, well, for any of us, really, this is a way, it's kind of like the great equalizer. Because in the old days, what you would have to do if you wanted to have a book published is you would have to try to get a hold of a literary agent and hope and pray that one accepts you. If you got lucky and won the lottery and got a decent literary agent, then that literary agent would send off your manuscript to various publishing houses. And then once again, if you got lucky and won the lottery there, then you would be published. Times are different now. Now you can self-publish. Kindle's kind of the great equalizer, and I love that. And I really think it's important for all of us to support one another in things like this. So if you can, there will be a link underneath this in the info section. Go to Kindle, spend $1. It'll be worth it. Now, his book, it deals with religion. Stephen is an unapologetic Christian, and I dig that about him. He's a man of science, being a medical doctor by training, and he comes at religion from a scientific, in a lot of ways, from a scientific viewpoint. And I think that you'll find it interesting. In fact, when I was reading this book, I was thinking of YouTubers that I thought would really find this interesting, and some of them that came to mind was like Lamb Dog. You know, because Lamb Dog's one of those type of people that he likes to intellectually digest things and kind of dissect them and break them into their parts and then discuss them. And I dig that about Lamb Dog. But, you know, and of course, Batim came to mind. I mean, YouTubers that I know that are really, really thinkers, big thinker YouTubers. There's a section, and there's one of the essays in this book. And by the way, this book really is a collection of essays. But there is an essay in this book that talks about Darwinism. And Stephen Hayes makes a very compelling argument that basically, well, I'll tell you exactly what he debunks Darwinism, evolution as we've been taught in school. He debunks it, and he takes it from a biological standpoint and says, this is why this cannot work. This is why this is not possible. And he uses science to debunk it. And I was just like, wow. That's really, he makes this, in his essays, he makes a very good case for Christ. He really does. Now, some of you may be turned off by that. And some of you may think to yourself, well, I'm not a religious person, or I'm an atheist, or I don't really like religious books. Trust me, read this. You'll find it fascinating. You should find it fascinating. And even if you don't, you know what? Spend $1 to support somebody in the community. You know, that's my attitude about it right there. It's worth $1 all day long, if for no other reason, to support a fellow YouTuber. And I really do feel that. And truthfully, you know, this book may actually open your eyes to a few things. I mean, you never know. I mean, but now having said that, the whole story of Three Men in a Hut, which is it's a very short story, and it's I mean, when you compare it to all the essays in the book, it's a very, in my opinion at least, a minor role. But it is kind of interesting because, well, when you read Three Men in a Hut, that part of the book, that section, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I don't know. I suppose if you go into this as an atheist, closed-minded, you're not going to change your mind. And you know, it's just the way it is. Now, some people may find that Stephen's very critical of the Muslim religion in this book, and maybe he is, but I think he did a pretty fair job of explaining what's going on with that. I don't want to get into that here, but I will tell you that as far as I'm concerned, he wasn't hard enough on the Muslims. No, that's just me. I'm not trying to start any controversy. I'm just saying. So it's a really well done book. I don't agree with all of it, but it's a very well done book, and I think you will enjoy it. Let me show you. Here's his Amazon. When you go to Amazon, right, by the way, to see his book, it'll be here, Three Men in a Hut and Other Essays. Over here to the right, on this side, you will see the buy for $1 option, and then deliver to, and that'll be, if you downloaded the Kindle for PC, it'll deliver it to your Kindle for PC or whatever device you have. You can give it as a gift. It's only $1, so if you know people you think that might be interested in this, please do give it. I think we all need to support Stephen and any other authors. By the way, if you are an author and you're a YouTuber, especially if you're in the community, any of the communities that I frequent, you know, even though Stephen is well, let's just call him an apple grower. He shot a deer in his apple orchard and butchered it. So, you know, I almost claim he's a firearms guy too. But anyway, if you know somebody that you think might enjoy this, please send it to them. Let's support Stephen on this. I'd like to see him get to a #1 list on Amazon.com. So anyway, if you get any questions, let me know. I will talk to you all later. See ya!